Ian in the lab.
My name is Ian Stenseng, and I am Director of Accessibility and Training for the Lighthouse for the Blind Incorporated. I'm responsible for a variety of duties, management of our technical training programs, the computer training program, and the technology training center, as well as our Braille instruction program and Braille reading library, and our accessibility program. Accessibility can have sort of a broad range of meanings depending on what type of accessibility you're talking about. But at the Lighthouse, our employees are 70% or so blind, deafblind, and blind with additional disabilities. So for our purposes, accessibility accommodations largely have to do with visual impairment and how to adapt our physical environment, the tools and technology that we use, software, anything that an employee might need to be on an equal footing as far as being able to do their work. We've had several major projects recently where we've adopted new technologies organization-wide, new systems and software. We do pretty extensive accessibility vetting to make sure that any new technology, particularly software that we adopt, is going to be accessible for folks who use screen reading software like JAWS, or magnification software like ZoomText. And then there are specific accessibility challenges that we'll run into as a manufacturing organization where off-the-shelf tools don't really exist commercially. And so that's when we get to have the real fun and we get to build things. For example, on the bench here, I have a couple of tools that we've developed in-house. We have built a Windows-based portable accessibility, kind of a computer rig that we can adapt to a variety of challenges. So on the left, this machine is acting as a tally counter. Now, I'm sure most folks are familiar with like a clicker counter, like you might see a bus driver or an attendance taker use, something like that. This is similar to that. These are used in production quite a bit, so that folks who are doing production work can keep track of how many parts they've made in a given batch.
Production counter.
The problem with those traditional mechanical counters is that they're not accessible to a person who has low or no vision. And they're not accessible to a person who is primarily a Braille user. So we've come up with a computerized version that has high contrast, large print, has speech output, and has refreshable Braille output. So we can actually adjust our count with this little box here. And the count actually updates on this refreshable Braille display. The Braille display itself we've actually made in-house as well. We've found an OEM supplier of components that we can source from, and we can make these Braille displays. The housing is 3D printed, actually on the machines here in the lab, and we can make these 8-character displays for about $350.
3D printer.
Whereas a commercial refreshable Braille display, the smallest you can get generally is about a 14-cell display, and those are about $1,500. So $350 versus $1,500 is a pretty good savings for us. And these are actually more robust and hold up better in a production environment where you have dust and grease and metal shavings and that sort of thing. We are living proof that you can create an accessible workplace and empower people with disabilities to be successful in a whole variety of roles. We have blind and deafblind, CNC milling machine operators, machinists, you name it. It's not that difficult, and it's not that expensive to make an accessible workplace. And we'd be happy to show folks how we do it here.
People on the production floor use tactile sign. A man with dark glasses operates a machine. The Lighthouse for the Blind Incorporated, 100 years of jobs, independence, and empowerment, 1918 to 2018.